Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're tackling a big question for investors. How should you balance Bitcoin with the stocks in your portfolio? Stocks have been the backbone of traditional investing for over a century, while Bitcoin is the new kid on the block that's grown into over a $2 trillion asset class. Finding the right balance between the two could be the key to building wealth, managing risk, and preparing for the future. Most investors today feel pulled into two directions. On one hand, stocks are proven, they've averaged around 8 to 10% returns per year for decades, and they give you ownership in real businesses. On the other hand, Bitcoin has delivered outsized returns, completely outperforming every traditional asset in the last decade, but with higher volatility. So the real challenge is, how much Bitcoin is enough to benefit from the upside while not taking on too much risk compared to stocks? That's the balance we're going to break down today. Let's start with stocks. Stocks represent companies' cash flow and human productivity. They benefit from innovation, population growth, and economic expansion. With the stocks, you get diversification across industries, dividends in many cases, and the backing of global economies. The downside, stocks can still crash, as we saw in 2008 or 2020, but historically they've always recovered. For most people, stocks form the foundation of wealth building. Now let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin isn't a company, it's money. It's scarce, decentralized, and immune to inflation in the way that fiat currencies aren't. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and this scarcity is what gives it its unique edge. In times of money printing, currency debasement, or geopolitical uncertainty, Bitcoin stands out as a hedge and a potential asymmetric bet. The problem, of course, is volatility. Bitcoin can swing 50% in a year, sometimes in a month. So how do you balance the two? One approach is a conservative approach. For most investors, something like 1 to 5% of your portfolio in Bitcoin is enough to get exposure without risking your future if Bitcoin crashes. This is often recommended by financial advisors who are cautious about crypto. Another approach is a balanced approach. If you believe in Bitcoin long term and can handle volatility, 10 to 20% might make sense. This gives you a real exposure to Bitcoin's upside, but you're still anchored by stocks. And the third approach is an aggressive approach. Anything above 20% is a big conviction bet. Some Bitcoin believers go all in, but that comes with a huge risk if Bitcoin goes through a long bear market. The right balance depends on your age, your income stability, and your personal risk tolerance. For younger investors who have decades ahead of them, a higher allocation to Bitcoin might make sense. For retirees, keeping Bitcoin lower and stocks higher is often smarter. The great thing about combining Bitcoin with stocks is that they don't move exactly the same way. Sometimes Bitcoin crashes while stocks hold up. Other times, Bitcoin rallies when stocks are stagnant. This lack of correlation can actually reduce overall portfolio risk if the balance is done correctly. Think of it like this. Stocks give you steady compounding and dividends, while Bitcoin gives you asymmetric growth potential. Together, they cover different sides of wealth building. Here are a few practical ways to balance. Rebalance annually. If Bitcoin pumps and becomes too large of a portion of your portfolio, take profits and shift some back into stocks. Dollar cost averaging. Don't try to time the market. Buy small amounts of both consistently. Separate long-term from short-term. Have your long-term Bitcoin stack that you never sell and your trading or investing allocation where you can rebalance. And finally, don't neglect other assets. Bonds, real estate, or cash can also play a role depending on your life stage and situation. At the end of the day, rebalancing Bitcoin comes down to your goals. If you want stability and growth, lean heavier on stocks. If you want upside and believe in Bitcoin's future, lean a bit more into Bitcoin. The key is to find a balance where you can sleep at night, not panic when Bitcoin drops 50% and not regret missing out if Bitcoin skyrockets. So how do you balance your portfolio? Are you heavy in Bitcoin, heavy in stocks, or somewhere in the middle? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear your strategy. Of course, none of what I'm saying is financial advice. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos about Bitcoin and crypto in general. And I'ma see you in the next one.